Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivimey.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of heroic television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Oh, it might be cloudy. There might be meatballs. We don't know what's going to happen. Well, we do. We watch the movie.
That's a spicy weather report this week on the podcast. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. We're talking about it because we are doing a little bit of a Lord and Miller, who wrote and directed this. Also the writers of the Spider-Verse. And next week, we're going to be covering the new Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I feel like as we love Lord and Miller, and I think you kind of have to slowly be like, oh yeah, they're great at animation. And I don't know why when I think of them, I think of like the Jump Street movies, but it's like Lego Movie, Clone High, this one.
Oh yeah,
they are animation masters.
I'm gonna say like they're animation first kind of a thing. Yeah.
And I don't know why I jumped to them first as for Jump Street.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of like live action fun is what I think of them, and I'm like, I shouldn't. They're animation guys.
Yeah, I think they're animation guys. I think that they've dabbled with live action. I think they kind of belong in the ilk of like Brad Bird, where it's
Mission
like
Impossible and Incredibles.
Yeah, and like you think Brad Bird, and you're like, oh, the best Mission Impossible, but it's like no, Incredibles, Iron Giant, real like a real animation heavy pedigree. But Lord and Miller, very very similar.
What
as well.
An elite place to be.
Truly
just
elite.
Incredible comedy, either live action or animation.
Yeah,
that is. Even just one. Comedy's so hard.
Comedy's so hard, you guys.
I don't know if you know. It's really hard.
Comedy's really hard, and they've got it all. They've got it all. So we're doing a bit of a Lord and Miller celebration this week, talking about Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, building up to Across the Spider-Verse, the second Spider-Verse film.
Part one.
Yes, I guess, but not quite. They changed the titling. It was Part 1. Now they don't call it Part 1 anymore.
But now I'm ready for a bad ending.
Yes,
or like a cliffhanger.
Yes, so we'll talk about that next week. But we're talking about Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs this week. Before we do get into the episode and talk about the movie, I want to let you all know. You might have heard me mention this on previous weeks of the podcast, but I'm doing a charity bike ride. I'm doing a charity bike rally, and it is raising money for PWA. It's the People with AIDS Society that assists people who are in need and who are living with HIV and AIDS. And it's a great cause, and it's a great charity event, and I'm doing a very long bike ride, and I'm trying to raise money for that event. I am riding from Toronto to Montreal, which is 610 kilometers, a little over 300 miles, or I think like 600 something, over 600 kilometers, over 300 miles. It's a 6-day bicycle ride, all raising money for charity. And one amazing thing is that from right now until June 15th, so from when this episode is released to June 15th, there is an anonymous donor who is matching all donations. So all donations are getting doubled. So whatever it is that you donate, if you donate $10, $20, $100, that actually becomes $20, $40, $200. All of them are matched and doubled by an anonymous donor. I have no idea who it is. It could be anybody. Who do you imagine it is? Do you imagine it's the entirety of Bare Naked Ladies? I don't know. I'm focusing on Canadian-centric celebrities because it is a charity event happening in Canada.
If they had $1 million, they would donation match to...
Whoa! What a poll!
to the Bike for Life charity.
What a poll! I love that. So I'm asking listeners, please give what you can. It helps motivate me to do this long bike ride, which is going to be the longest ride that I have done in my life. And it's a very big deal, and it's all going to go to charity, and it's going to get matched and doubled until June 15th. And you can donate just by going to bike.andrewivimey.com. That is bike.andrewivimey.com. There will be a link in the show notes. And as well, when you go to that link, you can find out more information about the bike rally, about the route, about the charity, about where the money is going. So you can find more information there, as well as give, and all donations doubled until June 15th, which is awesome. So donate now, because now your money just counts as double money.
You're not going to get a better deal than double money.
I dare you to find an offer better than double money.
Double money for a good cause. It was already an incredible thing you were doing, but double money, even more incredible until June 15th. Help out some people. Get Andrew out of this house for 6 days. I got to get him to Montreal.
Get me to Montreal.
By bike.
I will be out of here for 6 days just by doing this. So once again, that's bike.andrewivimey.com. Please give what you can. And now let's get into the episode. Let's talk about Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. All right, we have seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, a movie that we'd seen before, correct? You'd seen before.
I'd seen 3 or 4 times before. I love this movie.
Yeah, well, I
that
think
answers the question really quickly off the top.
But you know what? Elaborate. Did you like it?
I love Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I don't watch that many cartoons, and this is that perfect mix of is absolutely genuinely for adults and children. Like, none of the humor is actually adult, but all of the childish humor is also funny to adults. It is so fast-paced. It is so bright and cheerful. The performances are so good. The idea is so unique and fun to, like, just play with. You just feel like you're playing the whole time, but also there's such an economy of storytelling. Everything is so fast, but still feels fleshed out. And these still feel like real, fully developed characters. You feel like the whole town, you understand what's going on. This is just practically a perfect film. The comedy is so tight. The heartfelt stuff is so heartfelt. There's just like lessons here. It's an incredible film. I love Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I have a great time every time I watch it. So Andrew, did you like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
I agree with you on all of this. I love this movie. I'm a big Lord and Miller fan. It's come up on the podcast before. It will likely come up again. I think that they do just impeccable work and things that have just like a lot of heart but a simple heart that allows just a joke per minute joke factory. That's what I love, is that like the heart of their stories are just like a core seed that is universally relatable and connectable, and like it keeps it simple and it keeps it clean, but it still has a strong emotional core. And then it is just joke per minute, joke per minute, joke per minute. So like the laughs are incredible, but the heart and the core is still there. It looks great. It always has like a slightly unique style. That is the other thing that I absolutely love, whether it is Clone High or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or Lego Movie or Spider-Verse. They are all individually animation that does not look like other animation.
It doesn't.
It's unique and stands out. And like, you know, Lord and Miller are the writers and for most of that, the directors. And obviously there's an animation team that they're working with, which owes who deserve a lot of the credit for that. But also it's just a directorial stylistic choice to be like, we're not doing the exact same thing that the other 2 major animation studios are doing.
Yeah, it almost feels like if you're watching an animated movie that doesn't look like any other animated movie, it's probably a Lord and Miller animated movie.
Yeah.
Which is a weird compliment to be like, oh, it's brand new.
Yeah.
This one's different than all the other ones.
Yeah, because there's DreamWorks, Illumination, Pixar, and like all of them are blurring into the exact same thing with the exact same one style that a series of focus testing has shown that these rounded edges, no sharp objects are the most softly appealing to the exact age demographic. And it's just kind of bland and repetitive, but every Lord and Miller movie, this included, just looks unique and distinct. So I love this. I love this top to bottom. Yes.
I absolutely love this. The incredible amount, it tapers off as we get to the dramatic ending. The incredible amount of jokes packed into exposition is so wildly impressive. Like, this movie is a tight 90 minutes. It is a huge bombastic premise. A machine that makes food in the air and a guy who lives on an island surviving off sardines. Like, there's a lot happening and a lot of world to build, and it happens so quickly, but everything that happens is also a joke. It's like, here are all the things he invented. Every single thing he invents is a banger joke. It's spray-on shoes. It's the remote-controlled TV.
Yeah.
It's the hair growth. It's the rat birds. But also every invention he comes up with is a callback later that is either relevant to the plot or just a secondary joke later. No joke is forgotten.
Yep.
And it is wildly impressive. It is a script that has gone over with such care and originality and creativity and understanding of how comedy works.
Yes.
That it makes me feel bad as a comedy writer. I'm like, how dare you? I feel like shit, but I also love this movie.
It consistently does the opposite of the easiest intention. So, like, when it comes to writing, the intention would be, okay, we need to write exposition. Let's write the exposition. But in this scenario, it's, okay, we need exposition. What's one joke that can tell the exposition? And then also the easy path with writing is, well, we need to tell a joke, so let's tell a joke. But in this scenario, it's like, we need to tell a joke, let's make it exposition later. So it's doing the longest and most difficult and opposite kind of instinct thing, which is way more rewarding. There are little things like talking about like the setting of the film is on this island, something Swallow.
It's Swallow Falls, but
Swallow
then it's changed
Falls.
to Chew and Swallow.
Changes to Chew and Swallow, but it starts with Swallow Falls. And the setting of this film, the setting that they need to set up is, hey, this movie takes place on an island, a very remote island known for fishing and artichokes, and that's it. They're very remote, so there's not a ton of opportunities. There's not a ton of tourism. How do we tell all of that in a fraction of a second? It's just like, this is Swallow Falls. It's a little island. It's underneath the A in the word Atlantic.
Fuck, that was so funny. I forgot that joke.
And
oh
it's
my
so
God.
fucking funny, the idea that this is an island that's buried underneath the letter A on maps where it says Atlantic. But that detail is goddamn hilarious. And that delivers more narrative juice and more power as to like, oh, I get this island's isolation now. Way better than what a lot of movies would do as like several expository scenes of like, we need to really tell you how isolated this place is. And we're going to have a scene where we mention that there's only one boat a week that ferries people in and out. Just like, it's under the A. Fucking hilarious, gone. It establishes everything that you need to with a great laugh.
It is a great laugh and really does like, it's such a brilliant way to isolate it. Like, yes, of course no one can find it. You literally can't see it on a map. It's under the lettering. And it makes so much sense because there must be something under some of those letters. The letters are so big on a map. I just think this joke works on like 18 different levels and it's so funny. But yeah, it really does. You're instantly like, okay, yeah, it's small and you can't get there.
Yeah.
And no one's coming. Like you're all on your own.
And we're off to the races.
And
Like, that's
off.
it. Boom, we're gone. We're gone. And it's a sardine town, and just the world realized sardines suck.
And the newspaper that says sardines are gross as a newspaper story.
All of them realizing it simultaneously. And what a great like thing where as an audience member, you can watch it and be like, yeah, a town where the industry has kind of fallen by the wayside. We've all been through those towns, lived in those towns, known those towns.
Guys.
Yeah, lived in those towns, guys.
Hey.
So we all know what that is like, either through personal experience or through, witnessing or driving through or hearing things or knowing friends. We all know what that's like, and this is just the shortest and funniest way to do it, is that this town was built only on a thing that people realized are gross. And that's just so sharp and funny and clean, and I love that.
But a thing that is gross and now that they're stuck with. Like now everyone in the town has to eat sardines because
Yeah.
they can't sell them because everyone else. So like it's such a good impetus of like why we need this food machine. Yeah. Everyone's stuck eating gross sardines. So now we need like a hamburger machine in the sky. It's perfect storytelling.
And then it sets up as well the beautiful joke factory that is Baby Brent.
Oh, Andy Samberg. God, you are incredible. Actually, before we get into that, I do want to say because
Sure.
This movie actually does a thing we don't normally like, which is its face casting.
Yes.
But I would say going through this, pretty much everyone is at the very least a hugely comedic actor. Mm-hmm. This wasn't like we got like regular actors and got them to do an animated movie and they just kind of spoke. Like these are all extremely comedic SNL level like actors.
Yes.
Or Mr. T, who is just very big.
Who
Mr. T is just big.
Yeah.
You can do voice acting, Mr. T. That is wildly acceptable.
Who is doing a character piece, and that's fine.
But they really make it work. Because like even though these are pretty much all face actor, I don't think I saw a single voice actor on here. Uh-huh. It is everyone doing a very well-rounded character, very big, very distinct.
Yeah, a very big, very distinct. And also I think it's just like Lord and Miller have a history of shows like Clone High, which had a lot of people like Will Forte, who became a known commodity, but wasn't a face actor. So I think that a lot of this is face talent that Lord and Miller had been working with before they were face talent as well. So it doesn't have that DreamWorks Illumination style of like, we cast who was hot right now. It is we cast Bill Hader and Anna Faris, two actors who, like, don't get me wrong, wildly genius comedic talents, but are not like the A-listers of the A-listers. Hader has kind of moved toward that stratosphere, but today, not necessarily when this movie came out.
Yeah, it is weird to look at the cast and be like, oh, Barry's the lead of this. So, the dramatic lead, Barry.
So I think just well-rounded performers who happen to be face actors is kind of what's cast here.
And definitely weren't nearly as big when this movie came out. Like,
Definitely.
we look at this cast list now and we're like, Bill Hader and Andy Samberg, but like he hadn't done Brooklyn Nine-Nine yet. Bill Hader was not Barry yet when this movie came out. So like they are just like comedic gems.
That's right. Yeah, I can't even remember if Samberg was on SNL yet. So it was early enough for that, or either way was early on in SNL. Like
I know he met Hader when they both did SNL together.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Either way.
Like
Bruce Campbell, obviously. Let him do a voice.
Yeah. Yeah. So big bombastic voices, mainly face talent, but well-rounded face talent that are either well cast or are versatile enough. And I think Hader does a great job with this lead character as well, of Flint.
He does. Yeah. Before we got into the individuals, I wanted to say as a whole, this time, pretty much the only time, I don't hate getting face actors. Like we were so hard on Pratt in Super Mario recently, and like a lot of other animated things we've seen that are just like face actors who don't know how to do it. And we're like, this one? They got it.
This one, they got it.
They got it.
This one, they got. I mean, rarely, like when we were talking about Super Mario and just being like, well, Jack Black's perfect, though. Rarely will I be in a scenario where I'm going to be mad at Bill Hader and Anna Faris. You know what I mean? Like, they just.
And Andy Samberg? Absolutely never.
They just rock and slap. They absolutely slap. Like, Bill Hader does a great job with Flint, but I want to say, like, Anna Faris as Sam Sparks is truly phenomenal. Like, doesn't show up until a little bit later in the movie, so has to cram a little bit more personality into her delivery than Bill Hader necessarily has to do with Flint. Like, Bill Hader gets the luxury of being around since the beginning and having a lot of scenes of character building and emotional attachment and still doing a good job, but getting to play it a little bit more subtly for the emotional stuff and more broad for the comedy. Whereas Sam showing up a little bit later, Anna Faris has to cram so much in such a short period of time and has to do it with a much wider range in order to understand this character's emotion and comedy. So to hit a bigger range in a shorter time is a huge challenge. And my God, she does it.
She really does. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Because like Flint Lockwood is there the whole time. The whole town knows him. It's a story from his point of view. He's got a dad. He's got a mom for a bit. Like he doesn't need to really establish who he is as hard as Anna Faris. But she comes in. No one knows who she is. She has to introduce herself. She's not even given a backstory in New York. Just said she's the intern. So she really has to kind of explain who she is, like on the little boat ride over with the cute little like, I'm Sam Sparks. Hi, America. Hey, America. It's me, Sam Sparks. Didn't see you there, America. And then just her crestfallen way that she screws that up when she's live on camera, like tells an entire story. But she has to go so big in both directions of really good performance when I'm practicing and absolute failure when I'm actually on camera. Yeah, she has these huge strides to go through. And like the excitement she has to have about science dropped into, oh, I'm supposed to be dumb.
Yes. Yeah. And playing a character within a character of like, I'm playing dumb, even though I'm very smart because I'm a little bit dejected by the reality that I've had to deal with. So like, that's a really interesting thing that she has to play with, and a very difficult thing that could be too severe if not played right, but a perfect performance.
Really hard to play, especially through your voice. That is a very visual kind of thing. Like when you kind of just fall in on yourself, you're like, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm not smart. And your shoulders probably go up a little and you're like, oh, I'm going to hide myself. But to just get that through voice performance is really hard.
And you know, credit to the animators. They do, I think, sell it physically
they
also.
do, but she can't see that that's going to happen when she does it.
You need to have those two things coalesce because like with either one independently is not going to do the full job of it. Now, the cast conversation did start with Andy Samberg as Baby Brant is so funny.
Oh my God. He might have my favorite arc in the whole movie of this just absolutely conceited local celebrity who learns how to actually do the right thing and stop caring about himself, but is just so loud and just wearing a diaper.
Wearing a diaper, still trying to look like what is essentially the sardine equivalent of like the Coppertone baby is what they're going for.
It is very much the Coppertone baby.
And this guy just milking it, wearing a diaper 24/7, and everyone loves it. Like no one thinks
until
it's
they
in poor
don't.
taste. Yes.
Until they don't. Yeah, the second the food machine starts working, they're like, ew, that guy's in a diaper. And it's like, that should have been the reaction the whole time, you guys.
Yes. And also I think the ooh reaction was also once tourists had arrived. So that was an outsider perspective.
They didn't know who Baby Brant was.
Yeah. There was also a moment as well, and maybe this is just from like growing up in a small town. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but there was a moment like during the downfall of Baby Brant, before he tries to redeem himself, just this jerk who is the famous person in a small town, when Flint is making his way up and gets into that restaurant that Baby Brant can't get into, and Baby Brant just looks at him and yells out, "But I'm the famous person of this town! But I'm the most important person in this town!" Him yelling that, I was like, that's the most small town ass shit I've ever seen. Yeah, like it has no subtlety, but the on the nose of it is the realest fucking writing of just one dude being like, "But I'm the main character of this small town."
I completely agree. My small town did have a main character. I'm not going to name names for Miramichi's sake. I will say Miramichi never got another thing bigger than that guy, so he never had to wait in line outside a restaurant like Baby Brant. I don't think he ever had his like, you're done
right
moment.
Yep.
But I can see if a second thing had ever happened in Miramichi that he might have. But yeah, definitely very vibes. Like, yeah, the biggest guy in a small lake is a pretty small guy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty like sad from an outside perspective.
Yeah, it's like the whole mayor's arc of like, I just want to be big. And like they physically embody how big he wants to be with his obsession with the food that comes down. But him and Baby Brant are friends at the beginning of this, and you absolutely see why. They're both think they're better than this small town.
Yes, and Baby Brant as well is being fed into that from the mayor. And I think they do a good job of that, of like, the mayor then does to Flint what he did to Baby Brant, which is like, can I fill you full of hot air? Can I pump you up and make you feel like I'm your only connection to being a big person in a small place? Like, can I give you this feeling that's an addiction? And then also, Brant being cut off from that, then kind of going on his own journey and still being a bit of a blowhard idiot, but like one who has a kind heart to a certain degree. So I think that they do a really good and fast job of telling that kind of micro story.
Yeah, you're not excited for him to come up to the space to the food machine, but then when he just like gets inside the chicken and he tries to save Sam because she touched peanut butter, it's just really sweet. She touched a peanut or something. It's really, really cute, and you're proud of him.
Yeah.
I don't know you, Brent, and I'm proud of you. And also your introduction of knocking over a bunch of sardines with your face on them with your butt is so funny. It's such a basic joke. Like on paper, what I just said is not funny. A guy knocks over some sardines with his butt. But maybe it is. I don't know. It's fun to say butt.
But the animation sells it, and just Andy Samberg's, uh-oh! So fucking good.
He's so good. I love Andy Samberg so much.
Oh, so delightful. So fun.
So delightful. I will have a quick negative, if I may.
Sure, yeah.
This is a negative that is most animated movies, but I actually really would have liked if Lord and Miller had kind of acknowledged it and not done it. Moms always die.
Yeah.
It is a wild Disney trope. There is almost not a single Disney movie where there is a mom alive. I think maybe Lion King is like the only one. So pretty much and like that's the only one where a dad dies. Pretty much any movie where a parent has to die, it will be the mom. Like your Finding Nemo's, your Little Mermaids, your everything else, your Aladdin's. And I was just like, and like the mom actually gets some lines in this, which is maybe nice because most Disney movies you just kind of start and there's no mom, she's dead. But I was also like, you guys, I think you're better than this. I think you're better than the dead mom trope.
That's a good point. I hadn't really clocked that. And, that might be my own inherent biases that I need to take a look at, but I hadn't clocked it. And I acknowledge it now, though.
It's not like a problem they have personally, but animated films for children as a whole, like if you go back and look through history, it's like, wow, no mothers. Everything is either not about parents or about the father relationship.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, that it's not their specific problem. It's just a problem that occurs in one of their things. These problems are systemic and then happen to be embedded through every system and environment of storytelling and that we have. It does exist there, but it does seem like they would be the ones to notice and kind of do better because they're so typically, as creators, they're very observant of these kind of tropes and do a good job of circumventing it.
They really know how to reverse a trope. Like their jokes are absolutely not where you expect most jokes to go. Like especially like Lego movie tropes are not exactly where you expect kind of tropes to go. So you would think they would know a little better. This was one of their first movies, and they also feel like guys who, as soon as you point it out to them, would be like, "Oh shit, we did kill the mom off. Oops."
Right.
Like I feel like they'd never do it again. Like Spider-Verse, Miles' mom is alive, but I think she's also alive in the comics. So
yeah.
So it's like, all right, there's a mom.
You have to kind of stay by it to a certain degree there.
Yeah. So that's just my quick negative for just if you're making an animated movie, guys, maybe let the mom live.
Maybe let the mom live.
This is my request.
I like that. I like that a lot, and I think that. One thing that they don't do, and I appreciate that they don't do it, which is kind of go in for the manipulative early tears of the death of the mom, that they're just like, the mom was around, the mom isn't, this story isn't about that. As much as we all like the hard, uncontrollable sobs of a beginning of a Pixar movie,
let's watch Up, it's fun.
Yeah, as much as that is effective storytelling and emotionally moving storytelling, it can also feel like emotionally manipulative storytelling. And I kind of like that we skip past that section of Flint's life to be like, yeah, that's not the crux of this movie. This movie is kind of about how you become your own person.
It's about how you become your own person, but also about like communicating with people you love when you don't have anything in common. Like their buffer went away. Like Flint and his dad, the mom was the buffer family member, and she's gone, but she's not gone in a tragic way, which is like, it's nice because it keeps the comedy rolling. It's a story that's told kind of just subtly, like just all of a sudden it's him and his dad doing videos about his inventions. If you look at the photos on the wall, it's like all three of them, and then he's just a little bit bigger and it's just the two of them, but they're right next to each other, and like just noticeably like, she's gone, we're not going to answer the questions of where. So it's told in a nice way.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And they're not like, it's not a story about like grief and getting over it. It is just a story about like, she was here and she's gone, and it's been long enough that we're like, we're not crippled by it. We're just like working through it still.
We're trying to make a connection on our own.
And we're not
that's one of the
doing
problems.
a good job.
We're not doing a good job.
Not crushing that.
No. I would say that is one of my problems. One of my short negatives about this movie would be that I think maybe they go a little bit too much with the dad not trying. Like at the end when they use the monkey translator to translate all of like the dad's feelings, I'm like, I actually don't think that those are your feelings at all. It's like, I get that you don't understand his world and that you're both trying to reach out to one another in your own dumb, idiotic, we're poor at communicating way. But you are also the adult, and it is your burden of responsibility to bridge that gap maybe a little bit more than he does. And it's like he cuts away from work, but Flint does come and help you at the store once. And when Flint's like, "Can I show you my things?" You're like, "No."
He won't even go up
you
to
won't
the
even
lab.
look. And I understand it's like, I'm not good with the computer. I didn't email the right file. Like, this isn't a thing that I'm good at. And it's like, yes, but you can be around while your son's good at it. So I think there are times where I'm like, the dad's actually kind of, there's moments where I'm like, oh, I get it. You're trying to reach out and communicate and it's not working. And that's a very relatable parental child experience. But then there are moments where I'm like, you flat out actually aren't trying. So I don't like that.
I completely agree with this as a slight negative for me as well, especially when this movie opens with Flynn at a very young age, very clearly communicating he does not understand fishing metaphors. He says that straight to his face. And then literally for the next 15 years or so, still fishing metaphors. It's like, I cannot be clearer about the fact that I don't understand fishing metaphors and I'm a child.
Yes.
And so it really is up to the dad at that point to be... I think you don't have to actually care about the interests of someone you love, but you have to be supportive of those interests. And he's not really, like, he is a little in the videos, like he's participating and he's helping, but he does get to the point where he's like, you should work at the shop. And he doesn't even go to the lab, like, as you said, and he doesn't try even once to say anything. The fact that his, like, motivational change is handing him his lab coat was disappointing as hell.
Yeah.
I was like, you're not going to say anything?
Yeah.
He's going to hand him a thing he already owns?
And then went into the house.
Yeah, didn't even make sure he got out of the garbage can.
Yeah, it's like that's something you should do for literally anyone who even isn't your child. Like if
you find someone in a garbage can, you make them a sandwich, you clean them up.
Yeah, and also it's just like if I find and returning a lab coat, like if I find someone's possession and I know who owns it, I just return it to them.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do? Just put it in the house? Throw it out?
That's not Father of the Year material. Like that's not like I understand that hiding it or destroying it would be a manipulative bad father thing, but it doesn't make you a good father just by returning your child's possessions.
No, maybe if you had like a fresh new one.
Yeah.
Because that was like a dirty one that like got caught in all the stuff. If he was like, here's a fresh new one, that might have even meant a little more. That's more supportive. You obviously went out of your way to get one. You had a backup or the mom had a backup and you've been saving it.
Sure.
Even something small like that would have been better.
Yeah. So just a little bit too harsh in a scenario like that. That's just kind of my one criticism there. But there are moments of brilliance within that, like I do want to reach out and connect. There are moments where it does work in between the moments where it doesn't.
There are, because there is something nice and tragic about both of them reaching out, like, do you want to come hang out with me at the bait shop? Not even just to work. Like, do you want to go to like the opening of the new thing, Sardine Land? And like, he's like, do you want to go to the lab? And they keep saying no to each other. And it's so easy to just be like, yes. But that's the tragedy of it, that they're like, neither one of them, they're both reaching out, but neither's reaching back.
Yet neither is willing to compromise.
Yeah.
Neither is willing to compromise. And one of you has to be, and the burden of onus should be on the adult in that scenario. Although I will say, I don't, and this might be actually part of the brilliance of this movie, I don't know what age Flint and Sam are supposed to be.
I have no idea. Are they 16? Are they 25? Because like, interns could be a whole swath of ages.
Yeah.
And like the sizes and shapes are so not inconsistent, but just so unclear with everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no like year gaps anywhere to let you know what's happened.
Yeah. Are they a skinny 25 or are they a like not yet fully in their adult body, like 16, 17? Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard to tell. And like, and I'm kind of okay with that. I kind of like the ambiguity and like how that kind of opens up this story to a broader audience and a broader age appeal. Yeah,
because as I was saying, like I do think this works for children and adults. And I think if I'm like 12, they're probably like 16 to me. But me as a woman in my 30s, I'm like, I bet they're 25. They're close to my age. I could still be a food sky inventor. I'll figure it out. Like you can make it more relatable because there is no defined age set here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it totally works. I'm not mad about it anyway. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, but speaking of good relationships though, because like this is the parallel, is Mr. T, Earl Devereaux, is just this incredibly wonderful, supportive dad who loves his little baby boy, Cal. But more than that, and it's not much in the movie, I love the relationship with him and the mom of Cal's mom. There's the moment where they're like running away from the big thing of food, and like Cal's mom and dad are like picking up their boat, and she's got a big candy cane, and she's knocking stuff away, and they're throwing the kid like a football to save him, and I'm like, these two work together.
Yeah.
No,
These two parent,
but in the same supportive way that I think is so touching and was too small a part of the movie. Like her not being upset when he throws their kid like a football to get him out of danger, and her just being like, we gotta go. I'm like, a mom doesn't usually get to be fun like this.
Yes.
You're forgiven for the early kill mom, because this mom gets to be fun and cool.
A mom just being like, you need to yeet that kid right now.
Yeet our son out of danger, Earl.
Yeah. Got him.
And she catches him.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That is a really fun relationship, and just like a fun couple of characters as well.
Yeah, it's a small part of the movie, but like every side character is so fleshed out. Like you've got the mayor, you've got Brent, but also you've just got like the guy who's always happy. What's it going on with that guy?
Yeah, a guy's just always having the best time imaginable, and they just do a really good job of like recurring townsfolk as well. I mean, I think Bruce Campbell as the mayor as well is really fun and really good. Like that's a great performance and over the top, and there's really good just like comedy with the framing and the positioning of it. Like the scene where he's being like the devil on the shoulder of Flint
and just going
and
from
coming
side to side.
coming out of frame left and frame right just magically. I really love that. I really do love that.
I love that. I think there is, oh God, this movie is so full of small details that are just delightful. Like the way Flint is just singing his own theme music and narrating everything he does gives such energy and pop to what should be boring scenes of him building stuff. And also just like shows so much personality. Like he's like, build this, coffee break, cool lines. And I'm like, yeah, why were there cool lines? I'm like, oh, it's just because he likes cool lines.
Yeah.
Why does everything have cool lines on it?
Here's some cool lines. It's a good time.
You gotta have cool lines. And they do all look cooler for it.
It makes it go faster, don't you know?
It probably does. It shot right into space.
It did. It did. It shot into space. It's just delightful. It's delightful. The montaging, the vignetting of the narrating your own story. Also that devil on the shoulder mayor scene, the lighting of that is really good. I know that that's a weird thing to say about an animated movie, but they do a really good job of one side warm lighting, one side cool lighting. And it's just, and the way that it actually practically affects the environment is really well done. And I'm like, it's a very basic lighting technique for this idea of a scene of like evil lighting, positive lighting. But they execute it really well to the point where like this is a studyable moment for anyone trying to light a similar scene.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Noted.
Uh-huh.
Gonna study that one. Also in the lab. God, I love this because like, as we've discussed, they're poor, but like he's like, I don't know where he's getting anything, but he's got this giant lab, but most of it's not a lab. Like you think it's a big wall that's like an entryway, but it's just a sheet that he's painted to look like a door that he has to, and then he's got like a Simon machine that you hit the beeps on, and it's a porta potty to get up there. But then it's like a lab. Maybe that's why the dad doesn't want to go up. You have to enter through a porta potty. He doesn't think there's probably anything cool up there.
That doesn't help, that it doesn't, entering through a porta potty is definitely not a great curb appeal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it keeps people from breaking into your lab.
Sure.
It's like that.
I mean, not if someone's trying to poop.
Ooh, is it going to be one of those accidental lever situations where you end up?
I think if anyone goes in there, but also it's a porta potty on private property. That's their porta potty.
Yeah, don't use their porta potty.
Don't use their porta potty. Yeah, but I think that the lab is a nice combination of like it feels like the kid kind of grew up here, of like the fake kind of playpen stuff, but with legitimate inventor stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good mix.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I think that someone could help him with his inventions. It's like
Steve.
He does have Steve.
Steve the monkey is drinking coffee.
Doing his own thing. I feel like that's something the dad could maybe help with, where it's just like he's clearly a great inventor, and none of his inventions start with the question of what do people need, and literally if just any kind of a guiding hand could help him with that, he would be great.
I mean, he started off strong with spray-on shoes.
That was not a bad concept. Then he really lost it with Ratbirds.
Really? Who was asking for Ratbirds?
Really lost the thread with Ratbirds.
Yeah, that was going to be a lose-lose no matter what.
Yeah, and if it didn't get shot into a cloud, just making food is pretty good as well.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, but he's definitely not starting with the question of what are people asking for. Let's invent that.
Yeah, definitely. Because also, like, why do you need a monkey translator? Like, yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the hair growth one. Although that's like the only one that didn't get a callback. He like pours it on his dad, and his dad gets hair everywhere instead of just on his top of his head.
Oh, I don't really remember that.
It's really quick. And
Okay.
It's the only one that doesn't have a callback. Maybe
Okay.
because it's like actually useful.
Okay.
But yeah, like the remote controlled TV.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
this doing?
I mean, that was a fun background gag
Oh,
for the
I
rest of
love-
it. That TV running around was really good.
When he stole a human during
Out
the
of a
looting
TV
scene?
shop?
Oh,
That's so good.
comedy gold.
Oh, that's so good. I love it. I love that so much. So that's terrific for me.
That's terrific. I was going to say, I don't know if I got enough closure on the Sam, like, kind of accepting that she's a nerd thing, because when she finally does go on the news with her glasses and her scrunchie, she just gets straight made fun of and never gets like hailed as a hero or given a promotion, or they just like literally the last line about it is, we hope she looks better when she comes back. And it's never really touched on her storyline again about her job as a weather person.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I think it's more.
And it's so harsh.
It is. It's so harsh that it does circle into funny.
Yeah,
where
it
like
does,
it's
it does.
so harsh it's not real, and that allows it to be a little bit funnier for something that should not be funny.
It's so harsh during such an intense scene of literally the world's about to end, and he can't stop talking about her scrunchie.
Oh, the weather person at head office just going, "Whoa, who's this nerd?" And when they cut away from her, and he goes, "All right, we'll cut back later and hopefully find a more conventionally attractive weather person." Yes. I was like, "Oh my god, it is so brutal. It's funny."
It's so brutal, and also, but just a genuinely good commentary about how, for women at least, you cannot be an unattractive weather person.
Sure.
You really do have to be fully done up at all times.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yes.
But I wouldn't have minded just a little bit like she's in charge of weather now or something, or some kind of acceptance of her as a very talented weather person. She seems to have accepted it on her own, but not in a professional setting for anybody else.
I could get behind that. Would you eat any of the food? Would you eat Sky food?
I wouldn't eat the first round of Sky food.
Okay.
I'd let someone else eat the Sky food.
Okay. Of course.
Yeah.
After some focus testing and you find out that it's safe, would you then eat Sky food?
I would. I would have to have gotten a direct catch.
Yes.
Like a lot of people are eating some ground food,
I don't want ground food.
but I would need to go to the restaurant where it just lands on the plate.
Yes.
Or the hold out your plate one.
Yeah,
But
or-
yeah, I would.
Or one of the mouth funnels.
Ooh, the mouth
funnels
funnel's
that
a good
catch it.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really, I mean, it's such a silly movie. Why would I say this? I don't really believe so much of the food would stay together. Like opening with hamburgers. That's like 8 things stacked on top of each other.
Sure.
There's no way anyone caught a full burger.
The top bun's blowing off in midair.
Absolutely gone.
You're not getting it in one piece.
Maybe if there's ketchup and mustard, some stuff will stick to the meat.
Some binding agent.
A binding agent, exactly. Or a cheese?
A cheese could. I think it was cheeseburger, but still, a cheese is only one binding agent, one side holding 2 things together.
You're not getting a full burger.
You're not getting a full burger.
No, but
you're getting patty, one bun. That's it.
One bun. I think the things I would eat most would be the things that I often think aren't food anyway.
Ooh.
Like Skittles fall out of the sky.
Yeah,
and I'm
candies.
like, that's basically plastic anyway.
Hard candy for sure is
definite
an
and easy eat for me.
Okay.
They didn't seem to have a ton of great vegetarian options.
No.
It was like following the things Andrew could eat in this movie. And I'm
Ice
like,
cream.
waffles?
There was some waffles,
And
ice
ice
cream.
cream.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think there was bananas at one point. Maybe a banana.
Everything came at one point, but it was very meats heavy.
Yeah, it was pretty meat heavy.
But yeah, would you eat what are you doing? You
I
waiting
think
a day or?
I think I would eat some Sky food. Yeah, I think in this world I would eat some Sky food. I would again. Yeah,
I mean, if
would
the
need
other
to.
option's sardines.
I would need to hard catch it. I would need to hard catch it. I need to get a handful. It needs to not touch the ground. or it needs to be in a funnel or a special accompaniment. But yeah, I think I'd chow down on some Sky food.
I can see that about you. I did love when it got to the ice cream scene and your immediate reaction was, everything's going to be so sticky.
This whole town's sticky.
It's a sticky town.
This is a sticky town.
It's going to, like, you have to also, like, at some point, just let the machine make rain. Like, let the water go in and let the water come out.
Yeah.
Because you got to clean up this town. When has it rained last? Oh, shit. When has it rained last?
That is a drought is going to be hitting this town because all of its rain is being hard turned into food.
Into food. I mean, but they have food, so.
So I guess it's not a yeah.
But yeah, like at one point it rained orange juice. Sticky though.
That's sticky.
Sticky.
That's sticky.
That's sticky.
Okay.
You're right about how sticky the town is.
Yeah.
Also, town's wrecked.
Oh, some of it's too heavy.
I mean, well, like at the end of this movie, like the dam broke.
Oh yeah.
This town's not coming back.
No.
It's got swallowed.
It's sunk into the ocean.
Yeah, Swallow Falls has been swallowed. It is just completely. I mean, I think the idea is that like he came up with another invention probably to clean it all up or whatever. Pretty quick.
It's pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah,
on
get
the
some
inventions.
robots that build houses.
Well, I'm feeling good on Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I'd obviously like just watch it again. Such a quick, incredible film.
It's a great movie. Very well done. Very funny. Let's go into the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change? So now that we discussed everything we discussed, what would you change about this if you could change anything? Before we do, we will remind you, as we do every week, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict.
Podcast Addict's good. We like Podcast Addict.
Absolutely. If you rate, review, and subscribe, it helps us move up the charts. It helps us find new listeners, and it makes those new listeners more likely to actually hit subscribe and hit download. So just leave a star rating, leave a one-sentence review. It can be as simple or as complex as you would like it to be. But take a couple minutes out of your day, do it for us and a few of your favorite podcasts. It makes a big difference.
It makes so much difference. We read it. It's nice. New potential listeners will read it and be like, oh, they also think this is nice. This is a good current podcast that people like today. If you were to leave a 5-star review for us and other podcasters you love, it's a great way to support us in a quick, free way.
Perfect. And as well, if you want to support the podcast monetarily, you can do that over on our Patreon page. Patreon's a monthly subscription service where you can subscribe at whatever level is in your budget, and you'll get cool bonuses for doing so. So you can sign up at $1 a month, $3, $5, $10, $20. You know what numbers are.
Any of the ones in between those numbers.
Any of the numbers, you can sign up at that if it is in your budget, and you'll get cool bonuses. At the $1 level, you get our webcomic, Text from Superheroes. You get our webcomic early. At the $3 level, you get this podcast early and ad-free.
Two things
at the $3 level. You also get the $1 bonus of our webcomic early also.
3 things.
So that's a lot of bonuses at the $3 level. At the $10 level, you also get all of those bonuses plus an extra episode of this podcast every single month that is exclusive for our $10 patrons. This month we did The Fast and The Furious.
Oh, we had a really good time and we had a fun time. Yeah, the extra episode is a topic we never cover on the regular podcast. It's ad-free and it is just fun.
It is. So you can check that out. And as well, when you sign up, you also get immediate access to the full back catalog of the Patreon exclusive episodes. So if there's any old exclusives that you want to listen to, that's a great way to get in on it. And you can always cancel and change your subscription level on any given month. So there's no pressures or obligations. Check out some of the options. Head on over to patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That is patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. Have a look at the different levels. Subscribe at whatever is in your budget. And thank you to all of our current and our future patrons.
Thank you, patrons.
And now let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change? Diana, what would you change?
My biggest changes are, we talked about a little, they're already about Flint and his dad's relationship. They kind of just, it never coalesces in a super satisfying way. I think I would like to see, so we do get his dad going into the lab against his will to save the world. At the end, I wouldn't mind if in a similar vein, Flint goes like fishing with him or out on a boat with him, and they do kind of finally explore each other's interests. But more than that, I think what I said earlier I really want to see, which is you can not have an interest in a thing that someone you love likes, but you have to be supportive. And I think a nice supportive thing would have been the dad actually gives like a speech about how Flint can save this whole town. It's not just handing him a coat. That wasn't enough. So I want like a full speech about, I believe in you. You're smart. I think you can fix this. And from Flint, what I think Flint needed to make his dad in charge of making the boats for everyone to evacuate the town. Because all he does is make boating and fishing metaphors. And he could have made such incredible boats. And the town might have been like, all of our boats are gone. We don't fish anymore. And the dad still is like, I can make us boats.
Damn.
And I would have loved that as a mutual respect from the dad and Flint of like, you can do your thing and you're so good at it. And I think you should do that. And also, Dad, here's your thing and you should go do that. And we love each other, but we're going to do separate things and save the town in different ways.
Damn, that's good.
And I like that. And like, it was funny that he didn't know how the lab to work, but it also like highlighted that he never even tried to figure out like what Flint's life was. So I actually really would have liked if the dad was in charge of the boats and the evacuation instead.
That's damn good.
Oh, thank you so much.
I love that.
Oh, excellent.
Awesome.
Thanks. And there'll just be another funny thing with Flint and like getting the wrong file in the card or something.
Yeah. I mean, he loses the USB, and that was already funny, and that's all you really need is the obstacle for that scene. Yeah. Love it.
Thank you. Having a lot of fun with that. Andrew, what would you change?
Well, I love yours, and my change would be to just kind of soften up the scene where Flint is mean to Sam.
Ooh, what does he mean to her?
Oh, when she's like trying to warn him
Yeah.
about his device, she's like, I'm smart. I have the Doppler radar. I'm seeing a problem that's going on. I'm also a nerdy scientist, which is a thing you've learned about me. Look out, it's a problem. And he just looks at her, and because he's been hyped up by the mayor, I get like the evil voice in his head is supposed to have corrupted him at this point. But he's like, don't worry about it. Why don't you go tell the weather or something? And just really like demeans and degrades her.
Yeah.
And it's too harsh. And I get that he's supposed to be like turning bad and at this point due to the negative influences in his life. But I think it works way better if it is just him getting high on his own supply and not diminishing her.
Yeah.
Like if instead she's like, hey, you need to be careful. And he's like, I'm not worried. And you told me I'm the best inventor you've ever met. Like him being like, listen to and like the townspeople sweeping him away and being like, it's clearly fine. Like him being ignorant of the advice as opposed to actively hearing it and then degrading her. I think that was too far for their relationship, too far of a turn for their relationship to then later be like, oh yeah, sorry, I guess you were right. And it's like whether or not she was right isn't the problem. It's how you treated her was actually the biggest problem there.
That's fair. I actually will, yeah.
It really bummed me out where I'm like, oh fuck, like you actually turned into like a really shitty guy.
He did turn into a really shitty guy. More than him turning into a shitty guy, I think I was more bothered that he didn't apologize for being a shitty guy. He shows up with his little flying car and Sam's like, I'll go too. And I don't think there is a single line where he's like, Sam, you were right. I'm so sorry. I have to go fix it. I don't think she really gets her apology or her due. But also, if you're just never super mean to her, you don't have to do that. So one or the other.
Yes. Yeah.
Should be happening. I agree.
Yeah. So I think that you obviously still need that conflict in the film, but I think you can lessen that conflict by making it more of a miscommunication or more of a like the mob sweeps him away or he's high on his own supply and he just thinks that he's so great and he's not worried about it. So there's a lot of different ways to do it.
I love this. I like the mob a lot, especially. I think that's a really nice like visual and an obstacle like she can't overcome if there is a mob of people. Like it explains why he can't hear her without him being a total dick.
Yes.
I think that is a really like perfect device for separating them.
Yeah, you should listen to me and not thousands of people.
And thousands of people rush through a barrier and literally drag him away.
Yeah, and it's impossible for him to do that as opposed to like, I hear you and I don't care about you.
Yeah, that is a dick move.
Yeah, it was too much.
Too much.
So that's
too much.
That's my big scale back.
Love it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great change.
Let's
respect women juice.
Yep.
Love that change.
Let's throw that in there.
Make that fall out of the sky, Flint.
I love it. And I love your idea of the dad building the boats. I think that's absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. I think that would be really fun. I want to see what kind of boats he would make.
Well, that's going to be it for this week's episode. Thank you very much for listening. We are going to be back next week talking about more Lord and Miller. We're going to be talking about Across the Spider-Verse.
Very excited.
So very excited. We will
Long waiting.
We'll be talking about that next week on the podcast. And in the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can find me on Instagram at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can find me at Words of Diana.
And you can find both of us at From Superheroes. And we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.